Deep inside you, each time your sounds sway of your hips round rings true. It goes deep inside of you. 12 hours later, people, we are back live. Rock on. Still February 4th, 2025 of the year of our Lord. Thank you. We are mixing FDE and OG Green today in the laboratory. The first thing we got to do here today is take a break. Friends say I'll change, I don't listen, 'cause I live to be deep inside of you. Slide up her dress, I'm in darkness, I'm so alive. I'm deep inside of you, just like a make girl feel good. Unfortunately, I gotta kill the music. So we don't get flagged for copyright policies. Whoops. Didn't know we were such a wide angle. Totally forgot about that. All right. Cheers to you today. Cheers to you, whatever day it is. Whatever year it is, whatever timeline, whatever multiverse, wherever you're at in consciousness. Bausch. Holy cow. I definitely do have to eat more food. I'm definitely losing a lot of weight, but the money can't go towards the food because the money's got to go towards the bills. So that's where the money's going, towards getting more product out the door. So that means introducing more product lines, because just like yesterday, no sales today. That means we got to make better products and make more products. More products, better. We need to better the products that we currently have, make more products and list them in ways that are effective. Okay, so we're going to start by just cleaning up the space here. These are silicone slap sheets. So I tried to make black resin because I was out and I had orders coming through. So I tried to make black resin using graphite out of my gray resin that was already in stock. Just going to dye it black. Yeah, that didn't work. I used Gordia graphite powder. It says it's good for 3D projects. I'm sure what they mean by that is electroplating or just general paint. it fell out of solution fairly quickly. Okay, yes, it did dye it a graphite color, but it turned out it's more of a really dark gray. It was certainly not black. So I couldn't use it, couldn't even really mix it in to make what black I had go further. But long story short, we ended up having enough to print that order and got it shipped. And now I've got a whole kilo of graphite gray, we'll call it, that I will be using in future projects to like add shadow shading to things. So our dragon wings are going to be shaded. That's going to be a $400 product. Pretty excited about getting that up and running. You know, if you ever get into additive manufacturing, particularly resin, you're going to want to have a lot of gloves, some slab sheets, a ton of detergent or alcohol or solvent around. And something I don't hear people saying, not that I watch a lot of content on resin, but these cut-proof, cut-resistant gloves. Anytime I'm handling my prints, I'm going to be wearing these gloves. Okay, these are level 5. You can get level 4, level 5. They still tear a little bit, but it's going to keep these guys safe. Okay, that's the whole goal. Keep the resin off from your hands, off your skin, from sinking in and getting into your cells, causing those cells to then deviate from their natural course, potentially mutating into a form that doesn't decompose, but rather continues to reproduce, thus turning into either cancer or a tumor, failing to go through cellular apoptosis. So then you're going to have to get a prescription for cannabis. You're going to have to start using it daily. It's going to change your life. It's going to change your perspective. You're going to become a more... All right, enough of that. Enough of that nonsense. Make me want to put resin on my skin. All right, I think we're going a little bit far on cleaning this up. I think that's fine. This is it. This is the big deal. I don't know if I want to use these resin gloves because as I handle this stuff, I'm just going to be spreading my resin tack onto more objects, more bags. I'm going to be handling lots of things. This has a little bit of resin on it, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean it up. And then get these gloves off. And I want a clean environment where I can pick up and set down my materials. This is an old standard polymer container that was translucent, meaning it was clear. This was a great product. The problem with standard resin is that it's too glass-like. It's too rigid. It's too fragile. It's still tough. I mean, glass is a tough substance, but all the same, it doesn't contain the elastomeric properties that we need in some of these these are like clip-in, especially for the rail guard. There's just so much advantage to having an ABS-like elastomeric polymer. All right, that's clean. We're going to use the rest of this on this table. next thing I want to do is clean my spoon with just a little bit of alcohol. It's still got some of the mica powder from the original mixing. You can see it's still got pure blue and yellow, a little bit of the American red, that rusty red in there. And today we are going to take down the volume of powder we are mixing in to get our desired color. Now we're going to start out with a very small sample because I've never mixed in translucent before. I mixed both of these dried powders from the white and the gray that I had in stock. So I mixed my OD green from the gray. Now I'll be making it from the translucent, so naturally there's going to be a rather significant difference. Why translucent? Well, because it's $3 cheaper. And the company that I've been going to, Just Maker, is more or less out of stock of everything that I would like. So it's unfortunate, but it is the case. And a little bit more for resin, so I'm trying to, if I'm going to dye this stuff anyway, and I'm adding pigment to like combat the original pigment, you might as well just go clear and start fresh. So I've been looking for commercial sources for resin. Like, hey, where can I get 5 gallons? Where can I get 55-gallon drums of of ABS like resin? You know, like, come on here, people. Guess we're not doing that. This is I had mixed this with gold, apparently. Wow, that's so cool. Is it really gold? It's not. It's clear. What the what? Oh. So I mixed gold in the cap, and then I put the cap on this. So there's not actually any gold inside of here, but there is gold on the rim. That makes sense. Okay, I have an empty 2-liter here, and then we'll just use the original container. Well, we're gonna keep that over here for now. I have another one that I could use to mix. Okay. Alrighty then. Let's get these gloves off. It's the circle of life. All right, I'm going to put this out here so you can see it. Let me tip you guys down here. You can't see enough. What's really going on the table here? Now you really can't see me. That's unfortunate. It's the circle of life. All right, my face is not the point of this video anyway. What is the point of this video? Mix an FDE and OD green resin. Here we go. Photopolymers. Yeah, baby. What do I want? I need to get my ABS polymer here. Clear. Just shipped in. Elegoo. Black. Nope. What the hell's the standard? I just bought it. I haven't opened it yet. Holy Jesus. Oh, that's a big box. Holy Jesus. The size of the box. Huge. Well, it is a big bottle. But I mean, the shipping for that. Anyway, it is what it is. It's a liquid, so I'm glad that they put all that effort into the shipping. That means these things must only cost like $1 to make, or less, a few cents. $1. Anyway. What I would like to do is take an empty container, unplug my mixer. I'm sharing a power source at the moment. I always go the wrong way. I'm just trying to get to grams, baby. God darn it. Alrighty. 200 grams, tear it out. We're at 0. All right, so how much weight is in this? This might be more than this can actually take. Oh, it's not. It's about 40% of maximum weight. Okay, so we are looking at under 2,000 grams. They shorted me 7 grams. Bastards. They did. They really did short me 7 grams. Son of a gun. And there still might be residual liquid in that. They shorted me 7 grams. I don't know. I don't exactly have a 500 gram check here and 100, but I should maybe get one of those in. Okay. Regardless. Okay, what do I need to pop that in? A glove. I hate burning through gloves. I hate it so much. I hate it so much. That's the worst part about resin. Is like you'll put on a glove to just like do one thing, right? And so I do try to save my gloves. I'm about to take it off immediately. Okay. You know, what do? Throw that out? You send it to a landfill? You're like, all right, Mother Nature, deal with that. We are the worst creatures, for sure. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to want to mix this quick. Just going to give her a good shake. It is a little cold. It sat on the porch for a little while, but as far as I know, this stuff can't freeze. I can't confirm that, but there's no freeze warning on it anywhere. They have no problem putting it on your porch. Which makes me wonder about food delivery. How do you get food delivery in Wisconsin at the door or outside? How can I used to know somebody that did food delivery. Poor person. I don't know. They did it. They loved it. I don't know if they loved it. They did it. To each his own. We're going to put roughly 1,000 grams in this thing. All right, that'll work. Even paper towels. We have to have some sort of renewable crop that's better than this. We got to make hemp paper towels or something. I don't care. Just anything better than chopping down trees. Turn them into little swabs. And cotton's such a pain in the butt, pain in the hands, pain in the machinery. Okay, let's go with taking this off a scale. We're going to tear it out, and we're going to put our first micro samples together with the translucent. I think we're going to use this one first. And this is where I use the slap sheets just to dump a little bit on. This is why my slap sheets are always a mess, but this is what they're here for. They're here to make a mess and to clean up afterwards. Let me get my pigment powder out. What do you guys want to start with? I want to start with OD green, honestly. Honestly, I do. This is America, and while I am selling to Texas, I'm also selling to Florida and Maine and Michigan, and I really think that OD green is going to be the one. So OD green it is going to be first. It's like every little granular is like gold to me. All right, we're going to get our brush. Right, so I've got our brush. It does have a little, it's one that I use over and over again, so it's going to have just a little bit of that sparkle in it from some of the pearl silver that I've got. So I hope none of that comes out of the brush. I do my best to rubbing alcohol that son of a gun clean. And then we've got a little drop sheet here, which is just a tear off from one of our shipping labels. So OD green is on the mat with some clear pigment, more than I would have liked to have put out there. And you guys want to know how this is going to turn out. Oh, brothers and sisters. It's a little bit gray. It's a little bit gray if I was going to say it's anything. It needs more green. It's definitely pretty gray. It's close though. So what do I need? More yellow, more blue. More yellow and more blue. There's a lot of yellow in it. There's a lot of blue in it. I added too much white. I need just straight yellow and blue to make the green. Bring more out of the green. Less white, definitely no red. Straight yellow, straight blue. Okay? I'm just sitting here swiping on the path, just trying to catch the right light and trying to come up with what I want to add to get the right pigment. It's not too far off. I thought we were on already, but final adjustments need to be made. So where are my pure pigment powders? Boy, isn't that a question? Let's pick up where we left off yesterday. The man with the twisted lip.
Good evening, Doctor. Good evening, Mr. Bartell. Draw up your usual chair and make some home. How about a glass of sherry? That'd be very nice. All ready for tonight's story, Doctor? Yes, my boy. Here's your sherry. Thank you, sir. My story begins on a June night in 1889. My wife and I had spent a quiet evening at home, I remember. It was just about the hour that a man gives his first yawn and glances at the clock, and the tranquility of the scene was broken by the discordant jangling of our front doorbell. An emergency call for you, I suppose, Doctor. Not exactly, Mr. Bartell. It turned out to be a certain Mrs. Isa Whitney, an old friend of my wife's who'd come to us in trouble. Her husband, she told us, had been missing for 48 hours, and knowing him to be the victim of the shocking habit of taking opium, she was convinced that he was lying drugged and stupefied in some foul den amid the London waterfronts. And I suppose you went out to try to find him? Yes, Mr. Bartell, I did. She told me that her husband had mentioned frequenting a place called the Bar of Gold in Upper Swandam Lane, so naturally that's where I began my search. I quickly located it, and after ordering my cab to wait, I entered the place. A strange sight met my eyes. Through the smoke-ridden gloom, I could catch a glimpse of bodies lying in strange, fantastic poses as they smoked the pipes of death. Most of the unhappy creatures lay silently, but some muttered to themselves and others talked together in strange, low, monotonous voices, their conversation coming in gushes and then trailing off into silence, each mumbling his own thoughts and paying little attention or heed to the words of his neighbor. As I entered, an attendant hurried up to me with an opium pipe and a supply of the drug and beckoned me to an empty berth.
Master may lie here.
I haven't come to stay here, my good man. I'm looking for a friend, Mr. Isa Whitney.
No one by that name here,
Well,
master.
I'm going to search this place just the same.
Please not to make trouble, master.
Watson? Is that you, Watson? Whitney. Thank heavens I've found you, man. What time is it? It's nearly 11. Of what day? What day? Friday, June the 19th. Oh, good Lord, I thought it was Wednesday. It is Wednesday. You're trying to confuse me. I tell you, it's Friday. Your wife has been waiting 2 days for you. You're mixed up in your dates, Watson. I've only been here a few hours. 3 pipes, 4 pipes. I forget how many. I'll go home with you. Yeah, I'll give you a hand. That's it. I have a cab waiting. I must owe some money. Will you settle up for me, Watson? Yes, of course. Here, wait here for me. Stop calling at my sleeve, my good fellow. Who are you and what do you want?
A word in your ear, please.
Oh, very well. What is it?
Get rid of your friend and join me outside.
Holmes. What on earth are you doing here, I understand?
Your cab waiting?
Yes?
Then please use it to send your befuddled friend home in. And if you feel up to it, I should also recommend that you send a note to the cabman telling your wife that
Took me a minute to deduce where they were. I'd stored them underneath my workbench.
Yes, of course.
Splendid. Then conclude your business here, old chap. I'll meet you outside in about 10 minutes.
These are the two colors we don't need. I'm running a little bit low on the yellow and the blue. That's what we're going to use them.
Where on earth is he? It's nearly... Is that you, Holmes?
Yes, Watson, it's me.
Your disguise is wonderful. I never recognized you if you hadn't spoken to me just now.
Suppose to be a friend?
Yes, good.
Splendid. Let's start walking. I have a horse and trap waiting for me in the next street.
What on earth were you doing in the Bar of Gold, Holmes?
Trying to get news of a missing man. You, Simon, I'm in the midst of a very remarkable inquiry. And I'd hoped to get a clue from the incoherent ramblings of those poor devils back there. There's the horse and trap. Under the street lamp on the corner. You'll come with me, Watson.
Yes, of course, if I can be of any use.
A trusty comrade is always of use. My room at the Cedars has 2 beds in it.
The Cedars?
Yes, that's Mr. Neville St. Clair's house, and our present destination is near Lee in Kent, about 7 miles from here. I'm using it as a headquarters while I conduct my inquiries.
Evening, Mr. Holmes. Everything all right?
Yes, thank you, John. Get in, Watson.
Right, John.
I shan't need you any more tonight, John. Here's half a crown for you. Look out for me tomorrow about 11.
Right, on, Mr. Holmes. Good night, gentlemen.
Good night, John. Go on, get up.
Well, Holmes, if we have a 7-mile drive ahead of us, perhaps you'll tell me about the case that you're working on.
With pleasure, old chap. But first, take the reins for a few minutes, will you? I want to remove my makeup and take off my wig and be comfortable. After that, I'll tell you why we are headed for the Kentish countryside at this hour of the night. Watson, you have a grand gift of silence. It makes you invaluable as a companion. We've lived in 4 miles and you haven't uttered a word.
Cedar blue
Indeed,
and yellow.
I've been
That's
trying to question you, but I could see that
pretty
you were
close.
preoccupied.
We're just
I
like
shall
a touch
reward
of
you
white
with a
in it.
clear and concise statement of my problem. Mr. Neville St. Clair, aged 37, the father of 2 children and an affectionate husband, is missing. He left his house, the Cedars, near Lee, our present destination, last Monday.
4 days ago, eh?
Yes. Now, why should an affectionate husband and a happy father disappear?
Any money trouble?
No, I think not. His entire debts, at the moment, amount to £88, while he has £220 standing to his credit at the Capital and Counties Bank.
Who was the last person to see him on Monday?
His wife. But let me tell you the story. He left his house for London rather earlier than usual.
He was a businessman then.
Yes, he has an interest in several companies in London, but his wife doesn't know exactly what he does. But to continue, he left for London saying that he would bring his little boy home a box of toy bricks. Now, by the merest chance, his wife received a telegram shortly after his departure saying that a parcel of considerable value was waiting for her at the offices of the Aberdeen Shipping Company.
Aberdeen Shipping, why, their offices are in Fresno Street. I drove by them tonight.
Exactly, and Fresno Street branches out of Upper Swandam Lane, where the Bar of Gold is situated.
Ah, now I'm beginning to understand. Go on, Holmes, go on.
Mrs. St. Clair took a train to London, and at exactly 4:35 on Monday last, found herself walking past the Bar of Gold. Suddenly, she heard a cry, and looking up was horrified to see her husband defecting to her from a second-story window.
Great Scott, was he a prisoner, or was he there of his own free will, do you suppose?
Undoubtedly, he was a prisoner. The window was open, and she distinctly saw his face, which she described as being terribly agitated.
Really?
He waved his hand to her frantically and then vanished from the window so suddenly that it seemed to her that he had been dragged back by some irresistible force from behind. One singular point which struck her quick feminine eye was that although he wore the coat he had left for London in, he wore neither collar nor tie.
Oh, what did she do?
Rushed down the steps into the Bar of Gold and attempted to go up the staircase leading to the second floor.
I suppose that Oriental fellow that I talked to tonight stopped her.
Exactly. In fact, he pushed her out the door and slammed it after her. She rushed down the lane and a few moments later was lucky enough to meet a sergeant and 2 constables.
She took them back with her to the Bar of Gold, of course.
Yes. They went with her to the room in which Neville St. Clair had last been seen. Of course, there was no sign of him. In fact, on the whole floor, there was no one to be found except a hideous, deformed beggar who seemed to live there. From what Mrs. St. Clair told me, it appears that the sergeant conducted the examination quite diligently.
You saw your husband at this window, Mrs. Sinclair?
I'm positive, Sergeant.
Alaska swears no one's been upstairs this afternoon. He's probably lying. Let's see what this cripple fellow has to say for himself.
Here, you.
What do you want with me? I ain't done nothing.
Now, you heard what this lady said. Did you see her husband go in this room a few minutes ago?
I didn't see nobody, and I've been here all the afternoon.
You live here?
Yes.
And you swear on oath that no one's been in this room for the last few hours?
Yes, I do.
Mrs. Sinclair, I know that you think you saw your husband, but don't you suppose...
Look on the table.
Just a wooden box, Mum.
But I know what's inside it. There, see?
Well, it's a lot of wooden bricks like kids play.
My husband came to London today especially to buy them for our sons. You can't disbelieve me now, Sergeant.
Don't think I can, Mum. I'll take another look round. Where does this door lead to?
My bedroom. Yeah, you won't find nothing in there.
Oh, we'll look
Why didn't
just
she
the
say
same.
what was inside of it before she opened it and have him open it? Or at least say what was in it?
Hello.
That doesn't make
Bloodstains
sense.
on
That
this
doesn't
window
help her
ledge.
story.
Fresh bloodstains. How do you account for that?
Well, I don't know nothing about it.
And the window overlooks the river, just where the water's good and deep, too. Nice place to tip a body out. Here, come here, you.
Yeah, I ain't done nothing.
You've got bloodstains on your right sleeve. What do you got to say about that?
Well, I cut my finger, see? And then I went and opened the window later. That's how the blood got there.
Did you think I was born yesterday? Let's have a look in this chest of drawers. Hello. Hello, whose clothes are these? Pair of trousers, socks, shoes, hat, everything except the coat, eh? Mrs. Sinclair, will you come in here, please, Mum?
What have you found, Sergeant?
These clothes. Are they your husband's, Mum?
Yes, they are. What's happened to him, Sergeant?
I'm afraid he's met with foul play, Mum. And this man knows what happened, only he won't talk.
I don't know nothing, I tell you.
Don't you? Well, I arrest you in the name of the law, and I warn you that anything you say...
All right, so I'm
And
starting
so
from
what's the
scratch with blue
sergeant
and yellow.
arrested this crippled beggar?
No, I'm not surprised. What have they been able to find out about him?
Surprisingly little. His name is Hugh Boone. And he's a professional beggar, quite successful when I gather. His pathetic appearance attracts great sympathy. The shock of orange hair and a pale face that is disfigured by a horrible scar which has twisted the outer edge of his upper lip.
He was the last man to see Neville Sinclair alive, eh?
So it would seem. The Lascar downstairs has been cross-examined relentlessly, but he swears that he has no knowledge of the crime.
Have there been any further development?
Oh, yes, old chap. Yes, indeed there have. The ebbing tide gave a fresh clue.
You mean Sinclair's body was washed up?
No, his coat.
What?
With every pocket stuffed with pennies and halfpennies, 421 pennies and 270 halfpennies to be exact. There's no wonder that it had not been swept away by the tide.
But a human body was a different matter.
Yes, there's a strong eddy between the house and the wall. It seems likely that the weighted coat had remained when the stripped body had been carried away into the river.
Well, the other clothes were found in the room. Why would the body be dressed in a coat alone?
We can only surmise, old chap, but supposing that this man Boone had thrust Neville Sinclair through the window and into the river, what would he do then?
Try and dispose of the telltale garments.
Yes, that would be logical, wouldn't it? He would seize the coat and be in the act of throwing it out of the window when it would occur to him that it would float and not sink.
So he loaded the pockets with coins to make it sink.
Quite so. But he has little time, for he has heard the scuffle downstairs when Mrs. Sinclair tried to force her way up. He only succeeded in getting as far as throwing the coat out when the police arrived on the scene.
Well, that seems perfectly feasible.
Well, it'll do as a working hypothesis anyway.
Neville Sinclair disappeared on Monday, and yet we still don't know what he was doing in the opium den. What happened to him when he got there, or where he is now?
Oh, what Hugh Boone, the beggar with the twisted lip, had to do with his disappearance. Here we are, our destination.
Well, there's a light burning. Mrs. Sinclair must be waiting up for you.
Yes, poor woman. I hate to return here with no news of her husband, but she's been brave, Watson, extremely brave. We must do everything we can to comfort her.
Dr. Watson, I'm so grateful that you were able to come down and help your friend.
Oh, I only hope that I can be of some help, Mrs. Sinclair.
I see that you have no good news for me, Mr. Holmes.
I'm afraid not.
So bad.
No.
Thank heaven for that. Mr. Holmes, tell me honestly, do you think that Neville is still alive?
Well,
Frankly now.
frankly, then I don't.
You think he's murdered?
Well, I don't say that, but perhaps
And on what day did he meet his death?
on Monday.
Then perhaps, Mr. Holmes, you could explain how I received a letter from him today.
What?
Well, where is the letter, madam?
Here, let me see it. This is very crude writing on the envelope. Surely it's not your husband's hand.
No, but the writing in the letter is.
Uh-huh. This letter contained an enclosure.
Yes, there was a ring. His signet ring.
What does the letter say, Holmes?
Dearest, do not be frightened. All will come well. There is a huge error which it may take some little time to rectify. Wait in patience. And it's signed metal. Written in pencil on the fly leaf of a notebook. No watermark. Posted today in Gravesend by a man with a dirty thumb. The flap has been gummed, if I'm not mistaken, by a man who has been chewing tobacco.
My husband must be alive, Mr. Holmes.
This might be a clever forgery to put us off the track.
But the signet ring.
Yes, it may have been taken from him.
But the handwriting and then the postmark.
Might have been written on Monday and only posted today.
I won't be discouraged,
Mrs.
Mr. Holmes.
Sinclair, I have no wish to discourage you. I'm just trying to be practical. If your husband is alive and able to write letters, why should he remain away from you?
I can't imagine.
He made no special remarks before leaving on Monday?
No, none. Except to say that he was going to buy the wooden blocks.
When you saw him at the Bar of Gold in Swandam Lane, was the window open?
Yes,
Then he might have called you.
he might.
As I understand it, he gave an inarticulate cry, a call for help, you thought.
Yes, he waved his hands.
But it might have been a cry of surprise. Astonishment at the unexpected sight of you might have caused him to throw up his hands.
I suppose so.
And you thought that he was pulled back from the window.
Yes, because he disappeared so abruptly.
He might have leaped back, mightn't he?
He might have, though I can't think why.
One last question. Had your husband ever shown signs of taking opium?
Why, no, never, Mr. Holmes. I'm certain the idea would have revolted him.
Thank you, Mrs. Sinclair. Those were the principal points I wanted to be clear on. And now, Watson, I suggest we retire for the night. We may have a busy day ahead of us tomorrow.
I hope you both sleep well. Good night,
Okay,
Mr.
this is
Holmes.
our
Dr. Watson.
updated OD green.
Keep up your courage.
Good night, Mrs. Sinclair. We must hope for the best. The clouds seem lighter, though I should not venture to say that danger is over.
It's gonna turn into hopefully a darker.
You'll hear the rest of Dr. Watson's story in just a second.
Maybe a little bit.
So I'm just going to remind you that when you buy Petri California sherry, you
I
have a
just hate to
choice
turn
of
it
two kinds of sherry. You can
Great.
choose Petri regular sherry, or if you prefer your sherry dry, not sweet, ask for Petri pale dry
just
sherry.
whirl it on here.
They're both fine wines. And if you don't know which you'd prefer, don't buy one, buy two. Buy them both and try them both. And remember this. Petri sherry is the perfect all-round, all-occasion wine. It's good before dinner, after dinner, at cocktail time, and any time. Just be sure you get Petri. Petri sherry. Well, Dr. Watson, you and the great Sherlock Holmes certainly deserved a good night's rest. Did you get it?
I did, Mr. Bartell, but Holmes made no attempt to sleep. As soon as we retired upstairs, he donned a blue silk dressing gown and then wandered about the room, collecting pillows from his bed and cushions from the sofa and the armchairs. With these, he constructed a sort of eastern divan on which he perched himself cross-legged with an ounce of shag tobacco and a box of matches laid out in front of him.
He was all set for a session of thinking, I guess, huh?
Yes, my boy. In the dim light of the lamp, I saw him sitting there, an old briar pipe clenched in his teeth, his eyes fixed vacantly on a corner of the ceiling, the blue smoke curling up from him, silent, motionless. So he sat as I dropped off to sleep, and so he sat when I wakened in the morning to find the summer sun shining into the room.
Okay, yeah,
Pipe
we're
was
going to
still
put
between his
add just a
lips,
touch of
smoke
white to
still
it, just the
curled upward,
smallest touch.
And the room was full of a dense tobacco haze, but nothing remained of the heap of shag which I'd seen.
In fact, I think we could add white to our original mix and get it, but we're just going to use this one for now, and we'll just try the small batch.
20 minutes past 4.
Oh, Holmes, you're going to bed.
Well, old chap, I had to think. I couldn't allow my brain the luxury of sleeping. You game for morning drive?
Yes, certainly. I'll get dressed.
Good. No one's stirring yet, but I know where the stable boy sleeps. I'll have the horse and trap up in no time at all.
I mean, I'm talking like
To prison.
just a few
Visit Hugh
little
Boone,
granulars.
the man with the twisted lip.
Holmes, you're unusually excited. What's on your mind?
I want to test a little theory. I think, Watson, that you are now standing in the presence of one of the most absolute fools in Europe. I deserve to be kicked from here to Charing Cross, but I think I have the key to the affair.
Oh, where is it?
In the bathroom?
What? You're joking, Holmes.
No, I've just been there and removed it. It's in my coat pocket now. Hurry and get dressed, old chap. And we'll drive over to the prison and see whether my key fits the lock.
Maybe a few more granules in there. But
Well, good morning, Mr. Holmes. Dr. Watson.
Good morning, officer. Good morning.
You're a couple of early birds, and no mistake.
Yes, Constable, we're searching for the proverbial worm. Who's on duty?
Inspector Bradstreet, sir.
Oh,
Here he is now.
good morning, Bradstreet. Oh, hello, Mr. Holmes. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, Inspector.
What can I do for you, gentlemen? We called about Hugh Boone, the beggar man who is charged with being concerned in the disappearance of Mr. Neville St. Clair. You have him here? Yes, Mr. Holmes. He's in the cells. I'll take you to him. Follow me, will you, gentlemen? Thank you.
Well, what kind of a prisoner has he been, Inspector?
Oh, he hasn't given us any trouble, but he's a dirty devil. It's as much as we can do to make him wash his hands. His face is as black as a tinker's.
He has an aversion to washing, has he?
Yes, Mr. Holmes. Well, once his case has been settled, he'll have a regular prison bath, and when you see him, I think you'll agree with me that he needs it. And there we are. This is his cell. He's still asleep.
Lord, what a filthy, repulsive looking fellow.
Yes, he's a beauty, isn't he? Want to go in, Mr. Holmes?
Please, Inspector.
oh, which you could get away with before the days of fingerprinting, you know.
You certainly need to wash.
Yes, I had an idea that he might. That's why I brought this sponge along in my
Oh,
pocket.
so that was the key that you found in the bathroom.
Oh, you're a funny one, Mr. Holmes, and no mistake. What did you bring a sponge along for?
I'll show you. Is there any water in the cell?
There, in the jug on the table there.
Yes. I soak the sponge in the water so, and then apply it to the prisoner's face so.
Great Scott, his complexion's 3 shades lighter underneath, and the scar on his lip has disappeared.
What are you doing to me? Now tug on this mop of red hair, and I think we'll find it's a wig. Yes, come on. That's right.
Let me introduce you to Mr. Neville St. Clair of Lee in the county of Kent. Good Lord, Mr. Holmes, it's the missing man, all right. I recognize him from the photographs. All right. I'm Neville St. Clair. What am I charged with? With making away with Mr. Neville St. Oh, no, you can't be charged with that unless we make a case of attempted suicide of it. Well, since I'm the missing man, then it's obvious that no crime has been committed, and therefore I'm illegally detained.
No crime, but a very great error has been committed. You would have done better to have trusted your wife.
It wasn't only my wife, it was the children. I couldn't bear to have them know that their father was a common beggar. Now you expose me. What could I do?
Well, if you leave it to a court of law to clear this matter up, sir, you can hardly avoid newspaper publicity. But if you're perfectly honest with us now, I'm sure the inspector and Mr. Holmes won't be too hard on you.
No, Mr. St. Clair. Inspector Bradstreet will, I'm sure, make notes on the information that you give us and submit them to the proper authorities. But now, sir, your story, please. Why have you been posing as Hugh Boone, a crippled beggar with a twisted lip?
Well, it's a simple enough story. Some years ago, I was a newspaper reporter. One day, my editor wanted an article on begging in the London metropolis.
I suppose you thought the best way to get your facts was to disguise yourself as a beggar.
Yes, I'd been an actor in my youth, and it wasn't hard for me to adopt a convincing disguise. But that was the point where all my troubles started. On that first day I sat in the London streets, I found to my amazement that I received no less than 26 shillings and 4 pence.
Almost as much as your weekly salary as a reporter, imagine.
Yes, Mr. Holmes. Well, you can imagine how hard it was to settle down to arduous work at £2 a week when I knew that I could earn as much in
All
a
right,
couple
we are
of
going
days
for this.
by
We're going to try to
smearing
mix
my
half a
face with
kilo.
paint, laying my cap on the ground and sitting still. Only one man knew my secret.
Alaska at the Bar of Gold in Upper Swandam Lane, eh?
Yes, Mr. Holmes. Every morning I would emerge from there dressed as a beggar, and in the evenings I'd return and transform myself into a well-dressed man about town. The fellow was well paid for his rooms, and I knew that my secret was safe in his possession.
When you got married, you couldn't bring yourself to confide in your wife, I suppose.
No, I couldn't. My wife knew that I had a business in the city. She little knew what.
When you saw your wife from the window last Monday, you quickly changed back into the character
All right,
of
we're
the
calling
beggar,
it
I
2
suppose.
1/4
Yes, Mr.
grams.
Holmes, of course.
And then weighted my coat and threw it into the river. Well, I don't think there's anything else I need explain, is there, gentlemen?
One point, the signet ring that you sent your wife.
Well, I knew that she'd be worrying. So I gave it to the Lascar at a moment when no constable was watching me, together with a hastily scribbled note.
That note only reached her last night, Mr. Stickler.
Last night? Oh, poor Catherine. What a dreadful week she must have spent. The police have been watching that Lascar. He probably found it difficult to post the letter for you without being spotted. Yes, I would surmise he gave it to a sailor customer of his to post. A sailor who chewed tobacco and had a dirty thumb. Yes, I think all the ends are tied off very neatly now. One last question, Mr. Sinclair. Have you ever been prosecuted for begging?
Oh, many times, but what was a fine to me?
It's got to stop here and now, Mr. Sinclair. If the police had asked this thing up, there must be no more of you Boone, the beggar.
I swear it.
You must tell your wife the truth at once. If you'd done that a long time ago, you'd have saved both of yourselves a very great deal of misery.
I shall tell her everything.
Well, Mr. Holmes, we're very much obliged to you for having cleared this matter up. I wish I knew how you reached
Had a
your
little
results, though.
Well, in this case, my dear Inspector,
out of the
I reached them by sitting upon
label.
5 pillows and consuming an ounce of shag tobacco. I only wish that all my problems might be solved so comfortably.
1 kilo of ABS light.
Well, here's the patio of Dr. Watson's Northern California bungalow. But where's the doctor? Okay, I'll be right there.
Oh, I hope this works. Oh, I hope it works. I'm crossing my fingers that this turns out.
Can't say I've ever given it much thought, Doctor. Why?
See this foolish little fellow here with his silly little mouth opening and closing as though you were constantly astonished?
What is this? I thought you were a fish lover.
Yes, I am. But as I was brooding over tonight's story, that goldfish seemed to be making faces at me as though it was trying to remind me of how my face must have looked on a certain June evening in 1890.
It sounds to me as if you're going to tell a story against yourself, Doctor.
I am, young fellow, my lad.
What happened?
One Sunday morning in 1890, I dropped round to visit my friend in Baker Street. Mrs. Hudson told me that he was out, but suggested that I wait in our old rooms for his return, and promised me a pot of strong tea and some buttered scones as an inducement. So I walked into the sitting room.
That looks pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. It does look pretty good.
A bag in one hand, toast in the other. How are you? I'm fine, Holmes. I'm surprised to see you, though. Mrs. Hudson told me that you were out.
I have been, Watson, on a case.
All right.
Returned by my private agents for some necessary operations.
Oh, could I come with you? My wife's away, you know, but my practice is quite slack at the moment.
Not even my trusty old friend Watson can accompany me on this case. It's a ticklish business. The fate of 2 nations hangs in the balance. I must work alone. Sorry to leave you like this, old fellow. Goodbye.
Oh, wait a minute. Mrs. Hudson's making me some tea and some buttered scones. Don't you wait and show.
I'm concerned that it's going to fall out of solution,
Good old Watson.
but
You're the one fixed
perhaps
point
not.
in a changing age. Empires are tottering.
It's a little bit light.
Tea and buttered scones.
Oh, I'm sorry it was be awful. Goodbye, old fellow.
Oh, look, so sad, old fellow. The time is ripe. I'll tell you all about the case. You can write it up in your memoirs. Goodbye, old boy.
Buttered scones. I haven't got any appetite for them now.
Oh, that looks pretty doggone good. That's nice.
Did you enjoy the scones, Dr. Watson?
I'm afraid my appetite disappeared when Mr. Holmes left.
But Dave did it. I see you've eaten them all just the same.
What? Oh, so I did.
I've got a surprise for you, Doctor.
It's a little bit clear. We definitely
Inspector
need more.
Lestrade is downstairs.
We definitely need more. So let's
Thank you,
add
Mr.
another
Holmes. When I
2
told
and
him
a
he was
quarter.
out, the inspector said he'd like to see you.
We did? Splendid. I'll ask him to come up, please, will you, Mrs. Hudson?
Aye, sir. Will you come up, please, Inspector?
Thank you, Mrs. Hudson.
Can I butter you up a few more scones?
No, thank you. I really couldn't eat them.
I'll just go and make some more the same. He'll eat them if I fix them, Doctor.
No, really, thank you. There you are, Lestrade.
Hello, Dr. Watson. Here's a pretty kettle of fish and no mistake.
Huh? What's the trouble?
Well, I want Mr. Holmes' help on a most important case. Where's he gone?
Well, he's out on a very,
All right, so that'll make it 5,
matter.
You know where he
5.
is, Doctor?
Well, actually, I know where he is, Lestrade. My old friend never keeps me in the dark, but I'm not at liberty to tell you. Perhaps I could help you a bit. After all, I'm not exactly unfamiliar with my friend's methods.
That's true, but just the same. Oh, well, Doctor, 2 aids are always better than 1. even if one is a sheepshead, as my old mother used to say.
Are you suggesting that I'm a sheepshead?
Oh, I'm not suggesting anything, Doctor. I'm just telling you what my old mother used to say.
I'm really not very interested in what your old mother used to say. And now Lestrade, your problem, please.
Well, it's simple enough, Doctor. A German diplomat, Graf Otto von Ildenstein is his name, is in England on a very secret mission.
Graf Otto von Heldenstein.
Grand Voster von
I've heard of him.
Heldenstein.
Pray continue.
Well, this von Ildenstein staying at the Manor House at Hampton Wick, not far out of London. This morning, somebody slipped past his guards and threw a bomb into his study. His secretary was killed, and he would have been too, if it hadn't been that he left the room a few minutes earlier.
All these second-hand investigations are of little use, Lestrade. We must both go down to the Manor House at Hampton Wick and examine the situation
Take
on the spot.
2.
Get out the
5.5 grams per liter.
And while you're doing that, I'll tell Mrs. Hudson where I'm going.
Right, Doctor.
Scones? Think of scones. When an empire's tottering.
You're quite well,
Of
Doctor.
course I am. Now, listen to me, Mrs. Hudson. Mr. Holmes should return. Please tell him that I've gone to Hampton Wick and Inspector Lestrade to investigate the von Heldenstein business.
The von Heldenstein business. Aye, Doctor, I'll tell him that.
Mr. Holmes didn't tell you where he was going, did he?
No, Doctor, he didn't.
Oh, I see. All right. Well, thank you, Mrs. Hudson. Thank
Are you sure you don't want the scones, Doctor?
I might as well take him along. I just say Lestrade could eat him.
Aye, you're the one, Doctor.
Yes, I suppose this is rather exciting. Just the same, I wish I knew what Holmes was doing at this moment.
You are Herr Sherlock Holmes.
Yes, I presume Graf Otto von Heldenstein is expecting me.
Yeah, Herr Holmes. You were so anxious that you would come here to the Manor House.
I left immediately after I got his summons.
He's very weak. He has lost much blood from the injuries he received this morning.
Injuries that no one knows about, eh?
Nein, Herr Holmes. Only I, his old and faithful servant, knows. Follow me, please. I will take you to...
Okay, it is a little bit dark. It's just a little bit dark still.
Franz, is that you, Franz?
Ja, Herr Graf. And with me is Herr Sherlock Holmes.
Oh. Thank heaven you are here, Holmes. I hope I can be of service to you, sir.
You can. You can be of great service. Sit close to my bed, Holmes. I have not much strength to speak.
I'm listening, Herr Graf.
You must impersonate me.
Yes, so I gathered when I received your message.
I am in England on a most delicate and important mission for the German government. Within a few weeks, your government and mine will conclude a treaty outlining the German and British spheres of interest in Africa.
I see. Obviously, that bomb was thrown this morning by someone who does not wish the treaty to be concluded.
Yeah, exactly, Herr Holmes. That is why you must impersonate me. In 24 hours' time, I shall be well enough to resume my work. In the meanwhile, you can keep the secret of my injuries and also have the opportunity of finding the assassin.
I'm quite prepared to undertake the impersonation, sir, but how can I possibly hope to deceive the members of your personal staff?
With the exception of Franz here, and poor Fräulein Ullmeyer, who was killed in the explosion that injured me, my staff is new. They have joined me here from the German consulate in London. They will believe that you are me.
Very well, sir. I'll try it.
I have heard of your skill in the art of disguises, and also, it seems to me we are not so unlike each other.
I was about to comment on that fact myself, sir. Yes, I think that the moustache and side whiskers will work wonders. If I can make the accent reasonably convincing.
I will coach you, my friend.
Splendid. Help me off with my coat, will you, Franz? Get me towels and a mirror.
Jawohl, Herr Holmes.
And while I'm applying my makeup, Herr Graf, perhaps you will be so good as to give me the complete circumstances regarding this morning's attempt on your life. If I'm to impersonate you successfully, I must have all the facts at my fingertips.
but it is amazing, Herr Holmes. Even I can hardly tell you from my mustache.
Yes, I think it's the wig that puts the finishing touch to my disguise. How's it with you, Herr Graf?
Colossal. I feel as if I were looking into a mirror.
And my accent, you find it reasonably convincing?
Oh, yeah. Extremely so. I once again, Herr Holmes.
Yeah, Herr Graf. It gives me the greatest pleasure to do what you ask of me.
Prächtig. Splendid, Herr Holmes. Splendid.
A cab is drawn up at the gate. 2 men are getting out. You can see them from the window here.
Oh, it's the police possibly, or... Great Scott! It's Watson and Lestrade.
Friends of yours, Herr Holmes?
One of them is my close colleague, and the other is a detective inspector from Scotland Yard.
Oh, you must keep up the deception, even with your friends.
As a matter of fact, my friend's investigations will prove an excellent mask for my own search for the assassin. But, well, this is a vicious situation. I hope they won't recognize me. I am Graf Otto von Heldenstein, gentlemen. You wish to see me?
How do you do, sir? My name is Watson, Dr. Watson, and this is Inspector Lestrade of Scotland Yard.
How do you do, sir? Inspector. Dr. Watson, may I ask if I have the great distinction of addressing the Dr. Watson, friend of Sherlock Holmes?
Oh, flattered that you know me, Herr Graf.
But who does not know the great Dr. Watson? In my country, many people think that you are the real brains of the combination. Tell me, Herr Doctor, is that true?
Well, I wouldn't exactly say that's right.
Of course, you have both come here to investigate what occurred this morning.
Yes, we have, sir.
Please sit down. If you can find any furniture that is unbroken.
Oh, thank you, sir. I must say the place is a bit of a mess. And now, Herr Graf, please tell us exactly what happened.
Yeah. I will tell you everything, Herr Doctor. This morning I was working in here with my secretary, poor Fräulein Ulmer. I had occasion to go upstairs to my room to get some necessary papers. As I came down the staircase into return here, I heard a scream from Fräulein Ulmer. A moment later, there was the most frightful explosion. The concussion stunned me. When I came to, my poor secretary was dead.
What people were inside the house at the time explosion?
They're all at the church. The only people here was my secretary who was killed. My servant found I could vouch for him because he was upstairs when I went for my documents. There were 3 other people in the house, however. Madame Lisa Barona, my hostess, and the owner of this house. A young Englishman from the Home Office. His name is Hilary Adams, and the third person in the house was a member of the German embassy, Colonel Schweiger.
Oh, then it's just a matter of cross-questioning the 3 of them as to their alibis at the time of the explosion. I'll take them one at a time, Lestrade. Ring for that servant fellow. What was his name?
Franz.
Franz. That's what
This is a rare privilege to watch a master detective at work.
Yes, Herr Graf. I shouldn't be surprised if my methods teach you quite a bit about the art of detection.
Herr Dr. Watson, this is Colonel Schweiger of the German embassy.
Where were you, Colonel Schweiger, when the explosion occurred this morning?
I was discussing the military tactics of Clausewitz with one of the guards near the front gates.
Yeah, well, what was the name of the guard?
Carter. Mr. Arthur Carter.
Yeah, I'll check on that.
Thank you, Colonel Schweiger. Please ask Madame Lisa Verona to come in with us.
Questions, nothing but questions. Leave me alone.
Sorry, madam. All I want to know is where were you when the explosion occurred this morning?
Where was I? In my boudoir, listening to that stupid babblings of the young Englishman, Hilary Adams. Herr Graf, when I offered you my house, I did not know that I would have to put up with the love-making of your staff. Everywhere he followed.
No. Please don't get so excited, Madame Verona.
Questions. With your English public-making carbide at me. My beautiful house blown to pieces.
We got it, people. We got the OD green going on.
Mr. Adams, where were you when the explosion occurred?
Madame Verona's suite.
You swear to that?
Of course I do. You may ask her.
I've already done so, sir. Thank you, Mr. Adams. Thank you. That's all. You would go.
Can't really see it that well.
Well, Lestrade, did you check on Colonel Schweiger's alibi?
Yes, Doctor. He was telling the truth. He was talking to the Colonel when the explosion happened.
Dear me, Herr Doctor, your examination has not been very successful, has it, sir? Everyone has an alibi.
Yes, but The alibis of Madame Verona and the young Englishman, Hilary Adams, depend on each other's words. They might be lying. And you've been dealing with criminals as long as I have, Herr Graf.
You can trust it. The camera really doesn't show it that well.
Than the obvious.
We just need to print it. I'm going to get this
and make some inquiries.
pad
You will hear
cleaned
from
up
me,
here.
sir, before the day is over.
Yes. Well, much obliged to you, Doctor, for a very nice meal. Although we've been talking in circles.
Not entirely. Anyway, I have come to one important decision.
Oh, and what's that, Doctor?
Madame Verona is addicted to the use of drugs. The pupils of her eyes were contracted to pinpoints. It's an invariable indication of drug addiction. Lestrade, you go to Scotland Yard and see what you can find out about her, and I'll go back to my house. You can meet me there later. I wish Mary wasn't away. It's a good find out. Confound it. I can't see a thing. I'll strike a match. That's better. Hello? Who's that in the drawing room? Who is it? What?
I thought you'd never come.
Holmes, where else do you spring from?
Never mind that, old chap. I've come to warn you. Keep out of the Von Heldenstein business if you value your life.
Well, how did you know that I was working on the
I
case?
can't tell you now, but I implore you. Keep out of it. There are dangerous forces at work. Forces that would snuff out your life without a thought. Please believe me, old chap. And do as I... Quick, Watson! Under the dining room!
You'll hear the rest of Dr. Watson's story in just a few seconds. All the time, I need to remind you that, what with this being National Wine Week, if you want to take a gift to a young lady, why not take her a bottle of Petri California Muscatel? Petri Muscatel is the kind of wine you'd serve a queen. That Petri Muscatel has the flavor of plump, sun-ripened Muscat grapes, and is it ever good? You couldn't ask for a more delicious after-dinner wine, or a more delicious wine to serve when company comes. Remember, it's Muscatel, but the important thing is, it's Petri. Petri Muscatel.
All right, the mat is cleaned up. We've got our resin.
And
I'm
now back
going
to Dr.
to
Watson and tonight's
throw on another
adventure,
glove.
the
and
Manor
we're done.
House case. That was a fine
Great.
place to break off your story, Doctor, I must say.
Virgil, I thought I'd keep you in as much suspense as possible.
Well, what happened next? Were you and Holmes injured when that bomb exploded?
No, my boy. Well, the concussion of the explosion knocked me out for a few minutes. When I came to, Holmes had disappeared.
And I can imagine where he'd gone. Go on, Doctor.
Soon after that, Lestrade arrived on the scene, and after a quick and fruitless examination of the premises, we decided to return once more to the Manor House. And so, an hour later, I was telling my story to the man I still thought to be the Graf Otto von Heldenstein.
Frightful, Herr Doctor. The bomb might easily have killed you.
Oh, I was ready for it, sir. Quick thinking and presence of mind are my stock in trade, you know. When I heard the crash, I flung myself under the dining room table.
I'm most distressed that you yourself should be exposed to such danger.
Not at all, Herr Graf. As a matter of fact, I exposed myself deliberately to the attack. It's an old army trick, you know, what we call drawing the enemy's fire.
Come now, Doctor. You don't mean to tell us that you expected to have that bomb chucked through the window at you?
Of course I did, Lestrade. The assassin knew that I was
I'm an
working
idiot.
on the case. He followed me to London and fell into my trap, just as I intended him to.
All right, put it on the slab sheet.
Well, I don't see what has got you, Doctor. I myself must admit I cannot see that you are any nearer to finding the murderer.
On the contrary, sir, the case is nearly solved.
Well, I don't see how
It's
you
just
figured
there's
that
a.
one out,
I
Doctor.
should have put a filter in there first.
Elementary, one of the three people on suspicion followed me to my house tonight. The second bomb was thrown at approximately 7 o'clock. Now, it's only a question of finding which one of the three cannot account for his movements at that time. Then we shall know the murderer.
You want to cross-examine them again, Doctor?
Yes, Lestrade, bring them in, please. One at a time. Schweiger, where were you at 7 o'clock tonight?
Discussing the military tactics of Clausewitz with Mr. Carter, the Home Office guards.
Mr. Scott, that's what you were doing at 11 o'clock this morning, too.
It would take many days of discussion for two students to appreciate all the subtleties of Clausewitz.
Yeah, I'll check on that again, Doctor. Thank you, Mr. Hudd. And please ask Madame Verona to come in, will you?
Questions, and still more questions. Where have all that tonight, you ask me? I was listening to more babblings from that stupid young Englishman. Ask him for yourself.
Ask him for
Mr.
yourself.
Adams, where were you at 7 tonight?
With Madame Verona, her boudoir.
There is a curious sameness about the pattern of life in this house, is there not, Herr Doctor?
How about that?
Well, I checked on Colonel Schweiger's segment. It was true. He was talking to Carter at 7 o'clock, all right. Well, could the other two account for themselves, Doctor? Well, once again, they alibied for each other, but this time I begin to doubt them.
Oh, why do you say that, Herr Doctor?
Well, I would accept Madame Verona's alibi for young Adams. Obviously, she loathes the boy and wouldn't perjure herself for him. On the other hand, he worships her, and I'm certain that he wouldn't have any scruples about lying to provide an alibi for her.
You've got a point there, Doctor.
Yes, I regard her with great suspicion. Here, come in. Yes, Mr. Adams?
Dr. Watson, I've been worrying about Madame Verona. I was afraid you wouldn't believe my alibi for her.
Indeed?
I have another, an unbiased witness who can testify that Madame Verona was in this house at 7 tonight. Come in, Franz.
Jawohl, gnädiger Herr.
Franz, did you see Madame Verona at 7 tonight?
Ja, I take up 2 glasses of sherry to her. It was a few minutes before 7.
Thank you, Franz. Thank you, Mr. Adams. I appreciate your concern. You may go.
Seems to me we're still traveling in circles, Doctor.
On the contrary, my dear Lestrade, the case is solved.
You astonish me, Herr Doctor. Who is the guilty party?
You will know in a minute, sir. Lestrade, bring the 3 suspects in here, please.
Oh, sir.
When they are assembled, I will give you the solution to the mystery.
I wish they solved all cases like this. Bring them in.
Ladies and gentlemen, the mystery is solved, and I must apologize for any little inconvenience that you've undergone. You, Madame Verona, you, Colonel Schweiger, and you, Mr. Adams, have all unshakable alibis. Therefore, the solution is obvious. As my dear friend Sherlock Holmes has often said, eliminate the impossible, and whatever remains, no matter how improbable, is the truth. Therefore, the only person that could have thrown both bombs is you yourself, Graf Otto von Heldenstein.
By George, I believe you're right, Doctor.
What have you got to say for yourself, sir?
That I too, Herr Doctor, have an unshakable alibi.
Oh, what is it?
I was with you, Herr Doctor, when the second bomb was thrown.
What on earth are you talking about? I was alone, sir.
Oh, come now, old fellow, that's not true. What?
Holmes!
Why?
Holmes, how could you?
Mr. Holmes. Well, strike me. Don't be angry with me, old chap.
Oh, you...
No, my dear fellow, not at all.
I swear you got the real solution to the case, as usual, Mr. Adams.
Yes, Mr. I have.
Well, let's hear it, then. Might as well show me up to
Oh,
the
my dear
acid
Watson,
algae,
stop
huh?
berating yourself. You really handled the case very well. You made only one mistake.
Huh?
May I revise that dictum of mine which you just quoted? Eliminate the possible, and then if nothing remains, some part of the impossible must be possible. Colonel Schweiger's alibi was valid. So was Madame Verona's, since it was corroborated by the Trust of France. But what does your alibi rest on, Mr. Adams?
Madame Verona's told you I was here at 7.
Yes, but Madame Verona is addicted to the use of drugs. I'm sure that you spotted that back once.
Yes, well, I did.
Your mistake, old chap, was in not drawing the correct conclusion. Mr. Adams' alibi depends on the unsupported word of a drug addict. Now, the use of drugs notoriously destroys, first of all, the sense of time. Any trick such as the resetting of clocks could be worked on her without her noticing. Her word on a time alibi is completely valueless.
Then Adams is the man who...
Mentals. Why don't you... He's a murderer and a traitor.
All right, we are cleaning the FEP sheet.
Well, now that we're back in Baker Street, Watson, I may as well tell you that I had my suspicions of Adams from the first.
You did? Why?
Well, my brother Mycroft had told me that he was suspected of being a traitor at heart. Been under observation for some years. He was purposely given this assignment as a definite test of his integrity.
Well, I understand it all now, Holmes. It's the same. I just make it ask myself,
In front of Lestrade, too.
Don't worry about it, old chap. Please don't worry. You always can correct that impression, you know. Yours will be the last word.
Oh, how do you mean?
Well, when you come to write this story in your memoirs, my dear fellow, you can always do a little, what you say, re-editing of your own plots. Posterity never need know.
You're wondering how tight it is.
Our stories are based upon
It's
the
that
character
tight.
of Sherlock Holmes, created by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Sherlock Holmes is portrayed by John Stanley, Dr. Watson by Alfred Shirley, and
All right,
the
we are ready to
dramatizations
take
are by
O.D.
Edith
Green
Meisner.
for a spin.
Well, here we are again in Dr. Watson's study. We find him seated in the large armchair in front of a crackling fire.
Good evening, Mr. Harris.
Good evening, Dr. Watson. Now, don't get up. You look very comfortable right where you are. And from the redness of your cheeks, I'd say you've had a good day off in the country somewhere.
That's where you're wrong, Mr. Harris. I've been doing museums most of the day, and it's very tiring work, especially with two small boys in tow.
I should think so. But where did you collect the kindergarten, Doctor?
Oh, it was a brace of nephews of mine. I was helping along with their education, you know. It's a custom in my family that the uncles must take the nephews museum visiting once a year. I remember as a boy being dragged through miles of art galleries.
But, Doctor, weren't you ever taken to the British Museum?
Oh, yes, and to Madame Tussauds. But the Tower of London was my favorite. The uncle who took me there was quite a fancier of precious stones. He explained the history of every jewel in the Crown's collection.
That must have been an education in itself. They say every famous gem leaves a trail of bloodshed and high adventure across the pages of history. And, by the way, isn't your story tonight about a famous jewel?
Oh, yes, that is what reminded me so strongly of my boyhood visits to the Tower. The famous Mazarin stone I'm going to tell you about had a history that would make your hair curl. Dear me, I little did I think when I saw it as a boy that I would ever hold that great yellow beauty in my own hand.
Great Scott, and did you, Doctor?
Oh, before I tell you that, Mr. Harris, suppose I give you a few moments to say a few words about our sponsor's most estimable product.
Thank you, Dr. Watson. As you put it, sir, it is indeed an estimable product. So esteemed, may I say, that beginning in 1948, over 1,000 leading stores from coast to coast are Clippercraft dealers. To be exact, there are 1,036 such distinguished establishments. Those leading stores across the country are, of course, the key to the amazing values so unique to Clippercraft clothes. The 1,036 leading stores are part of the famous Clippercraft plan. In this plan, their buying power is concentrated to effect tremendous savings in manufacturing and distribution costs, savings which are all yours. That's why truly fine Clippercraft suits are only $40 and $45, why Clippercraft top coats and overcoats are only $40, and sport jackets only $26.50. Clippercraft values are truly out of this world. Compare them with clothes selling for many dollars more. And now, Dr. Watson, let's get back to the story of the Mazarin stone.
Yes, let me see, where was I? Oh, yes, I'd been married some years and had resumed my practice when one snowy winter afternoon, one of my calls took me in the neighborhood of Baker Street. I couldn't resist the temptation to drop in and find out for myself what my colleague Sherlock Holmes was up to. As I stood there in the falling snow waiting for someone to answer the bell, I glanced up at the window of his study, and there I saw the thin nose and saturnine features of the great detective. He was apparently deeply engrossed in a book. Presently the door was opened, and there stood Mrs. Hudson.
All right, I gotta plug this in. How long is that gonna reach?
Well, bless my soul, as if it isn't the doctor. Good day to you, sir. It's a pleasure seeing you again.
Why, Mrs. Hudson, you're looking beautiful.
Oh yeah, you'll reach.
You don't change at all.
Nor do you,